There is a groundbreaking development in Africa. The rift is several miles long, and some believe it is a sign the continent is splitting in two.
What if Africa were splitting in half, and in the process, a brand new ocean was born? It sounds like the stuff of science fiction, but it's happening right now. The East African Rift, a colossal tear running through the continent, is quietly but steadily reshaping the face of Africa. This rift is no ordinary geological phenomenon. It's a literal division, with tectonic plates pulling apart, setting the stage for a whole new ocean to form.
Scientists can see the beginning of what might someday be a sixth ocean. This is a map of the tectonic plates under Africa. Most of Africa sits on this plate right here, but Eastern Africa sits upon the Somalian plate, and this is where those two plates meet. Look at this border, and now look at this map of Africa. You can see that line. Along this border are the African Great Lakes. These are some of the largest lakes on Earth. This is 25% of all of the unfrozen surface fresh water on the planet, and they already hold about 10% of all of Earth's fish species. Those lakes formed because Eastern Africa is separating from the rest of the continent. That Somalian plate is continuing to move even further east, creating a giant rift valley right here. If it keeps going, eventually Eastern Africa is going to become its new continent, separated from the rest of Africa by a new ocean. To be fair, these plates move really slowly, so this would take millions of years, like 10 million years or more.
The continent's geography is in the midst of an unprecedented transformation. The process is slow, but its potential is immense, not just for Africa, but for the world. What happens when a landmass literally cracks apart, creating new coastlines, new oceans, and new economic possibilities? How will this affect the nations caught in the middle? And what does this mean for the future of global trade, culture, and natural resources? Let's find out. How exactly is a continent torn apart by nature itself? It's a question that might sound like the opening line of a science fiction novel, but the East African Rift is very much real, and it's happening right now. The rift represents one of the most extraordinary geological phenomena in the world, a slow-motion cataclysm of tectonic forces that is reshaping the African continent before our very eyes. To understand how the rift is tearing the continent apart, it's essential to dive deep into the science of tectonic plates, the forces at play, and the long, patient process that's taking place beneath our feet. At its core, the East African Rift is a boundary where two tectonic plates, the Somali plate and the Nubian plate, are slowly but inexorably pulling away from each other. This geological division is not an instant event, but a gradual one. The rift stretches from the southern part of Mozambique to the Red Sea, cutting a swath through Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia. The sheer scale of this divide is staggering, spanning thousands of miles, and it's the first hint of the dramatic transformation that lies ahead. Tectonic plates are the massive sections of Earth's crust that float atop the semi-fluid mantle beneath. The East African Rift forms part of a larger tectonic boundary, where the African continent is being torn in two. The process begins with the fundamental idea of continental rifting, where the lithosphere, Earth's outer shell, experiences tension that causes it to crack and separate. The East African Rift, unlike many other rift zones, is not just a crack in the Earth's surface. It's the site of an ongoing tectonic collision between the Somali plate and the Nubian plate, a process that unfolds over millions of years. This process of separation is not sudden, and in fact, it's incredibly slow. At the center of this divide, the plates move apart at an astonishingly slow rate of just 7 millimeters per year, roughly the same rate your fingernails grow. However, throughout millions of years, this seemingly insignificant movement accumulates, slowly widening the rift, deepening the valley, and forming cracks and faults along the fault lines. This gradual movement is a subtle but relentless force that promises to drastically reshape the region in the distant future. One of the most fascinating aspects of the East African Rift is the visible and dramatic evidence of the forces at play. In 2005, a striking event occurred in Ethiopia's Afar region, one of the most active parts of the rift. A 60-kilometer-long crack suddenly appeared, cutting through the land, widening and deepening in an unmistakable sign of the tectonic forces tearing at the heart of the continent. This wasn't just a minor fault line. It was a glaring reminder of how the Earth itself is actively breaking apart. Scientists quickly jumped to study this rupture, recognizing it as a rare opportunity to witness continental rifting in real time. The event highlighted the ongoing drama at the rift's core, providing a glimpse of the future of Africa's geography. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video, and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. But what makes the East African Rift particularly remarkable for scientists is the fact that it's not just a passive observation. It's an active, observable process that allows geologists to study continental rifting as it unfolds. As the plates slowly tear apart, they expose the hidden forces beneath the surface and offer unique insights into how the Earth's crust behaves under pressure. For geologists, the rift is like a living laboratory, an ongoing experiment in continental splitting that is happening right before their eyes. Unlike other tectonic events that are buried deep beneath the Earth, the East African Rift is right on the surface, providing an unprecedented opportunity for real-time observation. In addition to its geological importance, the rift has given scientists valuable clues about Earth's past and future. When the rift is fully realized and a new ocean is born, the landscape of Africa will be forever altered. The formation of a new ocean won't just be a natural phenomenon. It will also mark a dramatic shift in the way Africa connects with the rest of the world. Trade routes, ecosystems, and even entire political dynamics could change as new coastlines form and new maritime routes emerge. It's important to note that the rift isn't just about the slow pulling apart of tectonic plates. It's also about the immense forces at play that affect the Earth's surface. As the plates move, they create fissures, cracks, and faults along the rift's path, which can lead to volcanic activity, earthquakes, and other natural disasters. These events are not isolated, but are part and parcel of the tectonic forces at work. Volcanic eruptions are frequent along the rift, as the mantle beneath the Earth's crust begins to melt and forces its way to the surface, creating new volcanic islands and mountains. The East African Rift is, in essence, a hotspot for volcanic and seismic activity, and while these events are part of the natural process, they come with risks to the surrounding population and infrastructure. These violent tectonic movements, while fascinating from a scientific standpoint, also serve as a reminder of the unpredictability of nature. As the rift deepens, the ground shifts and cracks continue to form. There's a constant tension in the air, like a massive natural time bomb waiting to unleash. Scientists closely monitor these changes, using satellite technology, seismographs, and other tools to track the rift's expansion and predict the potential hazards that might arise. The geological forces are powerful, but their unpredictability keeps everyone guessing about the exact timing of the next eruption, earthquake, or significant rupture. Now the question is, how long does it take for a new ocean to form, and why might it happen faster than we thought? The concept of continents splitting apart and forming new oceans is both awe-inspiring and a little terrifying. The East African Rift is not a sudden event. It's a slow, gradual process, one that unfolds over millions of years. However, the timeline of this transformation is a topic of great debate among scientists. Originally, the common assumption was that the formation of a new ocean in Africa would take anywhere from 5 to 10 million years. After all, tectonic plates don't move quickly, and geological processes like continental rifting usually require vast periods. However, more recent studies suggest that this rift might not take as long as previously anticipated, and a new ocean could begin to form in as little as 1 million years. How has this accelerated timeline come to be, and what does it mean for Africa's future? The East African Rift, at its core, is the process of continental rifting, where the Earth's lithosphere is slowly being pulled apart, creating space for new oceanic crust. For geologists, this process is akin to witnessing the birth of a new ocean. However, what makes this phenomenon so captivating is that the rift is happening in real time, meaning scientists can observe it unfold firsthand. This is an extraordinary opportunity for geologists to study a process that typically takes millions of years and is often buried deep beneath the Earth's surface. The East African Rift offers a rare chance to observe this continental separation up close, as the plates move apart and Earth's interior dynamics are exposed. The original timeline of 5 to 10 million years was based on general patterns observed in past continental rifts, such as the formation of the Atlantic Ocean. When the Atlantic began to form, it took tens of millions of years for the separation of plates to create the new ocean. Geologists based their predictions on the assumption that the East African Rift would follow a similar timeline. However, technological advancements in geophysical measurements, coupled with more sophisticated techniques for tracking tectonic movements, have led scientists to reassess their estimates. One of the key factors driving the change in timeline predictions is the surprising speed at which the tectonic plates in the East African Rift are moving. While the movement rate may seem slow, about 7 millimeters per year, it's faster than the rates of other rift zones. Some studies now suggest that the rift could be moving at an accelerated pace, due to factors such as the thinning of the lithosphere and the melting of the mantle beneath the rift zone. These processes, which are less common in other rift regions, could be contributing to a faster than expected separation of the plates. To understand the speed of this process, it's helpful to compare the East African Rift to other rift zones around the world. The formation of the Atlantic Ocean, for example, occurred over more than 100 million years. In contrast, the rift in East Africa seems to be moving much faster, suggesting that the formation of a new ocean could happen in a fraction of that time. The rift's accelerating pace is particularly noticeable in regions like Ethiopia and Kenya, where the separation of plates is visibly more pronounced. This accelerated timeline could have profound implications for the future of East Africa and the surrounding region. As the rift widens and deepens, it will eventually create a massive gap that will fill with seawater. The future ocean that will form is not simply a shallow bay or a small body of water. It will be a full-fledged ocean, capable of reshaping Africa's geographical and geopolitical landscape. This new ocean will dramatically alter the region's climate, ecosystems, and maritime trade routes. Moreover, the creation of a new ocean will not be a simple, straightforward process. As the rift zone widens, the land around it will experience significant seismic and volcanic activity. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are already common in the rift region, and these events will likely increase as the plates continue to separate. These geological disturbances will create temporary hazards as the land shifts and cracks open. Over time, however, they will also contribute to the eventual formation of new islands, new coastlines, and a radically transformed geography. Another key aspect of the East African Rift's accelerated timeline is the influence of global tectonic activity. The East African Rift does not exist in isolation. It is part of the larger system of tectonic plates that governs the Earth's surface. As tectonic activity continues around the world, the East African Rift may be affected by changes in pressure and movement from other plates. This global interaction could either speed up or slow down the rifting process, depending on how forces in neighboring regions impact the rift. For instance, volcanic eruptions elsewhere on the planet or shifts in the Earth's mantle could alter the stress placed on the rift, potentially accelerating or decelerating its progress. The East African Rift's timeline is also influenced by the geological environment in which it exists. Unlike many other rift zones, the East African Rift is situated in an area with a relatively low level of tectonic friction. The plates in this region are moving away from each other without significant resistance, allowing for a smoother and faster process of separation. Additionally, the region's volcanic activity, which has been ongoing for millions of years, helps to keep the mantle material flowing, supporting the rifting process. Geologists are still actively studying the dynamics of the rift, refining their models, and making discoveries as the process continues to unfold. The East African Rift is providing scientists with insights into the long-term evolution of Earth's continents, and the accelerated timeline is just one example of how Earth's geological processes can be far more dynamic and unpredictable than previously thought. The formation of a new ocean in East Africa represents a monumental event in Earth's geological history. With recent advances in technology, scientists have gained a better understanding of the speed at which this transformation will unfold. The process once thought to take millions of years may now be completed in just a fraction of that time. The future of East Africa is set to be radically different from the Africa we know today, and the pace of this transformation will be a key factor in determining the region's economic and environmental future. Now the question is, what will the African continent look like once this ocean finally forms? This question has been on the minds of scientists, geographers, and global leaders for years. The East African Rift is not just an isolated geological event. It is a harbinger of what could be one of the most profound shifts in the Earth's geography. As the rift deepens and widens, it's set to completely alter the map of Africa, carving out a new ocean and transforming the continent in ways that will take decades, or even centuries, to fully comprehend. The most immediate effect of the rift is the creation of a vast gap in Africa's eastern corridor, one that will eventually be filled with water, forming a new ocean. This ocean will not be a small body of water. It will be a vast expanse, similar in size to the Mediterranean or the Red Sea, and it will dramatically alter Africa's coastline. The geography of East Africa, once defined by sprawling savannas and deserts, will soon be dominated by this new ocean, stretching from the southern tip of Mozambique to the Red Sea. As this massive gap fills with seawater, entire regions of Africa will be changed forever. The most significant geographical shift will occur along the East African coast. Countries like Somalia, Kenya, Tanzania, and Ethiopia, which have long relied on their positions on the eastern edge of the continent, will see their borders drastically altered. Somalia, for instance, could see the eastern part of the country, including major cities like Mogadishu, being separated from the mainland as the rift widens. As the rift continues to widen and deepen, Somalia could eventually break off entirely, forming a new island, or it may become part of a new archipelago that will be surrounded by the newly formed ocean. The idea of Somalia becoming an island is both fascinating and disorienting, as it shifts the country's geopolitical position and its relationship with neighboring nations. Kenya and Tanzania, two of the largest and most populous countries in East Africa, will also face profound changes. The rift will push parts of these countries to the edge of the newly formed ocean, leading to the creation of entirely new coastlines. Cities like Mombasa, once part of the African mainland, will find themselves at the forefront of this new maritime world. The formation of this new coastline could open up exciting opportunities for trade, tourism, and marine resource exploitation, but it also brings the potential for disruption as the region's infrastructure is redefined by the new coastline. Perhaps the most dramatic shift will occur in Ethiopia, a landlocked country that could soon find itself with direct access to the sea. With the creation of new coastlines, Ethiopia could see a portion of its territory break away, allowing it to gain access to valuable maritime trade routes. This shift in geography would reshape Ethiopia's economy, providing new opportunities for export and import and boosting its influence in regional and global trade. The rift has already begun to alter Ethiopia's physical landscape, with new volcanoes emerging along the rift's edge and the constant movement of tectonic plates shaping the country's topography. But the transformation doesn't stop there. As the rift continues to widen, it could also affect landlocked countries like Uganda and Zambia, which would suddenly gain access to the sea. This shift would dramatically alter their geopolitical and economic situations. Uganda, once entirely landlocked, could become a key player in the maritime trade of the region, connecting the African interior to the global shipping routes that pass through the Indian Ocean. With access to new ports and coastlines, Uganda could potentially transform into a regional economic hub, benefiting from both domestic and international maritime traffic. Zambia, similarly, could find itself with new maritime access, opening up new possibilities for trade, fishing, and tourism. This new coast could offer Zambia a direct connection to the world's oceans, offering economic benefits that were previously unattainable due to its landlocked position. These changes could also help to stabilize the economies of countries that have long faced challenges in accessing the global markets due to their landlocked status. The geological process driving this transformation will also affect Africa's natural ecosystems. As the rift zone deepens and the new ocean fills, the region's river systems and freshwater bodies will be radically altered. The shift in water levels could flood existing lakes and rivers, submerging large tracts of land. Not only will this affect human settlements, but it will also create new aquatic ecosystems. Freshwater species will be displaced or forced to adapt to the new saline conditions, while marine species will begin to colonize the newly formed ocean. This change could result in the rise of new fisheries and marine industries, while also posing challenges for local ecosystems that depend on freshwater sources. The changes in East Africa's geography will also have far-reaching effects on the environment and wildlife. The creation of a new ocean could lead to the emergence of new marine life forms, while the flooding of land could displace species that have made their home along the rift. The construction of new ports and coastal infrastructure will create new habitats for marine life, but it could also threaten the delicate balance of ecosystems in the region. These changes will likely trigger complex environmental challenges as countries adapt to their new landscapes and deal with the consequences of climate change, population growth, and urbanization. What's equally fascinating about these geographical shifts is the way the new ocean will open up entirely new maritime routes. East Africa's location, which has historically been strategically positioned between the Indian Ocean and the Red Sea, will become even more important as new shipping lanes emerge. As global trade continues to grow, this new body of water could become a vital shipping route for goods traveling between Africa, Asia, and the Middle East. The importance of ports like Mombasa and Dar es Salaam could increase, while new ports along the newly formed coastline could soon rival them in terms of global trade importance. In the long term, the East African Rift's transformation will create a new geographical landscape for Africa. Countries will be forced to adapt to their new borders, new coastlines, and new challenges. These changes will affect everything from national identities and geopolitics to economies and ecosystems. Africa will be a very different place in the next million years, and the transformation will offer both tremendous opportunities and significant challenges. The future of East Africa is not just about a new ocean, but about how these new geographical features will shape the lives of the people who live there. From shifting borders to new trade routes, the impact of this geological event will echo through history, changing the shape of the African continent forever. Do you think we will be able to witness this ocean form before our eyes? Will this make Africa more significant? Let us know in the comment section. How will it impact Africa's position in the world? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.